and welcome whether you're here with us in the Seattle Convention Center or joining online from around the world. I'm Rob Howard. I'm thrilled to be here with you today to talk about extending Microsoft 365 Copilot with your apps and line of business data. As we've all witnessed over the past year, generative AI is changing the way we work and live. It's bringing a powerful new technology for understanding and creation in a natural and approachable form factor. And Microsoft's approach is to put people in control of the AI solutions we create. Copilots, not autopilots. Let's take a look at the sort of experiences that enables in the context of Microsoft 365 and the solutions that our customers and partners integrate with it. Let's roll the video. Copilot for Microsoft 365 creates all this out of the box by combining the power of large language models with the information from the public internet and the context and commands from the Microsoft 365 apps that you use every day, and grounds the whole process in your organization's data stored in the Microsoft Graph. We've talked about that term a lot, grounding. Let's take a minute before we dive into extensibility and how your apps and data comes into this picture to talk about grounding. And we'll use a quick out-of-the-box example. So say we're starting in one of the Microsoft 365 apps, and we have a prompt for Copilot. We say, summarize the latest updates on the Fabricam project. The user sends that to the Copilot system there in the center, and Copilot starts the process of grounding by looking at what information it's going to need in order to fulfill that request from the user. Now remember, the large language model is trained on public data, so it doesn't know anything about Project Fabricam. So in this case, it's going to decide it needs to reach out to the Microsoft Graph, organized by the semantic index, to pull back all the information it has about Project Fabricam across email, calendar, documents, meetings, and more. And based on the query, it takes the most recent and relevant of that information, it combines it with the user's initial prompt, and it sends that modified prompt that contains all the information that Copilot needs to answer it to a stateless deployment of the large language model running inside the Microsoft 365 compliance boundary. The large language model processes the information, generates the summary, it sends it back to Copilot, and it finishes the grounding process, in this case, by taking all of the pieces of information that it referenced and creating citations in the response, and then returning that response back to the user in the context of where they asked it. In this case, it's just a response. In other cases, that can include commands from the Copilot that those apps can run. So this is the process for grounding queries that come to Copilot for Microsoft 365. And this example is an out-of-the-box one. But we think it's critical that you all have the opportunity to create your own AI solutions, either by extending Microsoft Copilot or building your own Copilot. And regardless of which option you choose, we have a comprehensive set of tools for you, from low-code tools like Microsoft Copilot Studio to professional developer tools like Teams Toolkit for VS Code and AI Studio. But how does the process of extending Copilot work? Well, let's boil it down to two simple concepts. First, we've got skills. These are the things that Copilot can do in the context of the apps where it's running. And then we've got knowledge. This is the information that Copilot has access to answer a user's query. Now, out of the box, we build Copilot with all the skills of a large language model and those of the apps where Copilot runs. So it can do things like create content, summarize, categorize, even command Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and more. And it comes with all of the knowledge that that public large language model is trained on, all of that public data. And as we talked about before, it's also grounded in the data from the Microsoft Graph, your emails, your documents, your communications, your collaboration. And Copilot is very powerful on its own, but you can take it that much further by extending it with skills and knowledge from your own line of business applications and data. And that happens through two extensibility constructs. Plugins that allow you to add new skills to Copilot by connecting it to essentially REST APIs from your line of business applications, and graph connectors that allow you to add new knowledge to Copilot by connecting it to data from your line of business systems. I'm excited to announce that plugins for Microsoft 365 are generally available, or are available broadly for preview for all users today. You can find more information about how to get access and enable in your environment at the AKMS URL on the screen. And together with Graph Connectors, which are already publicly available, we're ready for all of you to start building your solutions on Copilot. But before we jump in and explore how to build those solutions, let's take a look at some examples from customers and partners that are all already integrating with Microsoft 365, starting with Jira. Let's roll the video. We're going to use both a Jira plugin and a Graph connector from a single prompt. Imagine this. We've got a DNS issue wreaking havoc with users across the organization. We've got IT tickets piling up. And this is where the magic happens. Through the Jira plugin, we can ask Copilot to pull all of the Jira tickets related to DNS issues, and at the same time, crawl the help desk knowledge base. Now we're not looking for issues, we're also looking for solutions. We pull all of that information together, and Copilot uses that context to even draft an email to effective users. Now, Copilot's given me the full response that I asked for, but of course, I can drill in and look at the citations for the information it referenced, in this case, the knowledge-based article and the Jira plugin. And the entities referenced by those have rich representations that I can interact with. And like that, the issue is solved. Now, Jira is just one of dozens of ISVs already building Copilot plugins for their applications as part of the growing Copilot ecosystem. And our customers are building their line of business apps into Copilot as well to increase productivity, create deeper insights, and support new and more flexible workflows. Let's take a look at a couple more examples from early adopters. Here's an example from our friends at Ernst & Young. Let's roll the video. By extending Copilot from Microsoft 365, business leaders across Ernst & Young can use the Rosie plugin to access and take action on business information directly from Microsoft Copilot. In this demo, we see the power of Ernst & Young's Project Rosie transforming data analysis within teams. Imagine using natural language to query for business metrics like unbilled invoices and getting instant actionable insights. Rosie lets me drill into a different pivot at the click of a button. And with another simple query, I can look at trends of that data over time, showcasing information in a clear and concise format. And Copilot's linguistic capabilities help it understand E&Y's language using acronyms like NUI fluently. And as a final flourish, it can produce simple visualizations in line like a pie chart to represent the data. Last, let's take a look at Air India's business operations plugin. This is a great example. Roll the video, please. This is a great example of how we can streamline airline operations with Copilot. Users of the plugin can query flight information, including real-time updates on flights and detailed information through interactive cards. Users can query across flights for delayed flights and get rich information about the cause and the impact. And because that's all happening within Teams, a chat with the airport manager is just one click away. And finally, users can query historical flight data to look at causes of those delays over time and take proactive steps to address them, investing in improved operations, and improved customer experience. This is a great example of how Copilot can be leveraged in order to streamline operations as part of daily tasks. These are just a few examples of the productivity, creativity, and innovation our customers are bringing as they extend Copilot with skills and knowledge from their line of business applications. Now that you have an idea of what you can do with Copilot, let's talk about how you can build it. As we said before, we have a set of best-in-class tools across the spectrum from low-code to no-code. If you're interested in learning about low-code tooling, we have a great session at 4 p.m. tomorrow on accelerating impact with AI-powered low-code tools that you should check out. The rest of this session is focused on pro developers using the Teams toolkit to extend Copilot for Microsoft 365. And to get us started, I'd like to welcome my colleague, Rabia, all the way from Australia. Hopefully not too jet-lagged. Please help me welcome her to Seattle.
Thank you. Thanks, Rob. Hey, everyone. My name is Rabia Williams, and I'm a cloud developer advocate. And today I'm going to show you how you can build plugins for Microsoft Copilot. So like Rob mentioned, plugins allow you to expand skills for Copilot. And there are several ways you can create plugins for our platform. As a developer, you could use Teams message extension, Power Platform connectors, or OpenAI plugins to build on your existing technical investments in Microsoft 365 platform integrations. Or you could create new ones that align with emerging industry standards. But today, our focus in our pro developer story starts with Teams message extensions. Now, for those of you who don't know about message extension, which I highly doubt, I'm just going to keep it in simple terms. A message extension is a capability in Teams that allows you to enhance how you send a message. Now, we have lots of them already in our store, and for sure, I'm pretty sure many of you have already built one. But let's see an example. All right, so we created this message extension, Northwind Inventory, to help with the inventory management of this fictitious company called Northwind Traders. I'm in chat with Aicha and Bob, my colleagues at Northwind, and I'm searching for chai. And this is how the message extension looks like. I have this adaptive card now I've shared with my colleagues. I can go ahead and ask them to restock products, etc. So this is what it does. You don't have to open up an app. You can directly, in a conversation, bring business data, and then you could make updates to that data. All right, so what makes up a plugin for Copilot? Now, there are these 3 building blocks, as you can see here. First one is the app backend, which is your logic, basically. So it could be a Teams bot-based message extension, or it could be an API-based message extension, which we will cover later on in the session. And the second one is the manifest file, which, in my opinion, is probably the most important file for Copilot, because this file tells Copilot what your app is capable of doing. And the third one is adaptive card, which basically forms the response from Copilot, which has all your business data dynamically populated, and you can take action in them. All right. Now, this demo that you saw earlier, the Northwind Inventory, it works with a single query parameter, meaning that it can only do one query, like search based on a product name, because you saw that I was searching for chai. That's the product name, and then with that, I can get the results back from my API. So if you have that as a plugin, which this message extension, I forgot to tell you that this is already a plugin that you can use in Copilot. But now, if you're going to use that, you could start off with prompts like find chai in Northwind or send me details of tofu. Again, you're just emphasizing on the product name. But this is a developer show, so we want to show you something more exciting where you can take this message extension and make it next level plugin. So let me just show you that. My laptop is still in Australian time zone, just waking up. All right. Bear with me. Okay. All right. Okay, so this is my message extension app. As you can see here, I'm in the manifest file, the second building block. The manifest version is 1.12, which needs to be upgraded to 1.13 and above for it to work as a plugin. So we're looking at the old message extension still. When you come down below, you can see that there is a section called Compose Extension. Now, this is the message extension definition in manifest file. So you've got this bot command, you've got bot ID, and then you've got the command called product search. So you basically go ahead and do a search on product based on parameter product name. So that's what happened before. So the chai is the product name, and with that, it invokes this bot command and brings all the list of products. So this is now how it works. So you also have a backend bot code which will take this and process like I mentioned. Now let me show you the enhanced version of the plugin. So I'm in manifest version 1.16 and scrolling down to the manifest definition. Oh, I'll just stop by and say that all the descriptions will be pretty elaborate because this is where Copilot gets all the information from manifest file saying, okay, this app is supposed to do this. So whenever the user types in a prompt, it knows, okay, that is the intent. So this has to be elaborate. Like most of us developers, we just write, if it's Northwind inventory, we just say Northwind inventory app description. And this is what we do most of the time. But you can't get away with that now because you need to put a description for Copilot to know what your app is supposed to do. And then we come down to the message extension section. You've got now inventory search instead of product search because, hey, Copilot is able to process more than one parameter. So in Teams and Outlook, your message extension can process only one query parameter, but Copilot can process multiple. So now we have product name, category name, status, supply city, stock query. And you'll see that we're even giving hints to Copilot as to what possible values we would get. So if your prompt has something like, get me stock for chai, if it's about 50K units or something, it would know how to process that information. So you can give all that in the description. So this is how it works now. And then in your bot code, obviously, you have to go ahead and make sure that you're passing all these parameters into your API calls. So this is what we've done with the enhancement of this whole app. Now, enough with the talk. Let me go ahead and show you some code. Sorry, my demo. All right. So I'm using Copilot to perform 2 tasks in one go. First, I want to generate a list of all the beverages that are currently low in stock. Second, I want to know whether these products meet Northwind's minimum order quantity policy. To accomplish this, Copilot analyzes the policy to determine what it means to be compliant. I've not told Copilot what it means. So it finds that a product is compliant if its reorder level is greater than 25 units. Copilot then retrieves the low stock beverages and checks whether they meet this rule. It generates a report for me, and I really love how it puts all these emojis. And then it's actually going ahead and showing which is compliant and which products are not compliant. It also gives me a summary of the policy and a link to the document, the policy document, so that I can go ahead and verify it myself. Now, I was a bit fast there because I wanted to take a closer look at this prompt. So the first line, Copilot is able to understand that this is calling a plugin. So it's able to do that. And then it would translate that natural language into query parameters and then invoke the bot of that plugin. Now, let me show you how that is in my app that is running locally. I'm now opening up Visual Studio Code, which is where the Teams toolkit is currently running my application. Here we can see that I've actually logged this query parameter object so that you can actually take a look at what happens when it's translating. And you can see here that the category name is mapped to beverages and inventory status is low stock based on that one prompt. And then it will go ahead and call my bot for it. Now, let's revisit the second part of the prompt, which involves compliance. So Copilot has successfully located the relevant document, summarized the document for me, and you can see here it added the reference to the document, and you can go ahead and click that and verify, and it's even got a little blurb for me to read through the document. So in a way, what it does is it takes your business data from the plugin, and then it searches files, emails, et cetera, and then it all comes together and gives you the right information so that you could make better business decisions and get work done faster. Right, let's move on to another one because this is fun. So I have another work to do. I have to find all the low stock products coming from Sydney. And right now, Copilot is trying to interpret this prompt, doing its translations, converting it into query parameters, calling the bot and everything happening. At the same time, it will find out, OK, this is that one product that matches the criteria. It will give me the adaptive card right here in the conversation. And I'm about to take an action to restock, but then I had this thought, OK, what is the payment term with this supplier? Obviously, I have Copilot. I have powers. So I go ahead and ask, what is the payment terms for this supplier? Good day, mate. And it goes ahead and searches all my files and my emails and everything, and it finds that there is something there. There's an agreement with this particular supplier. So it goes ahead and brings all that information, and it even highlights the part that I should be interested in, that is the payment term. And as you can see, it also gives me a little blurb of what it is, and then the link to the PDF file. Let's go ahead and click on that link and open up the PDF file. This person who's doing all this job is really busy, so they can't really read a document, but hey, here we are. And right now, you can see the payment terms over there, and it's all good. And then let's go ahead and restock this product. So I can go back to the adaptive card here, take an action, put the quantity in, and then click on restock. And as you can see here, the adaptive card will refresh and on the spot, and it will update the status from low stock to on order. So everything is done in the same conversation. You don't have to open different apps, different documents. Everything is done. Now, thank you. By the way, this Northwind Inventory app or plugin is available open source for you to go ahead and try out if there are developers here. Now, to wrap it up, let's think about what value plugins bring. You can connect Copilot to your third-party application. You can retrieve real-time data, like the product information, stock information, something you need up-to-date information about. And then you could also help your users take action then and there in the conversation with Copilot. And obviously, probably the most important is if you already have a message extension, you could reuse those technical investments and create a plugin without doing anything from scratch. Of course, you can do it from scratch, too. But there is more to talk about message extensions, so let me welcome Sukhmani Lamba to the stage. Here you go.
Thank you so much, Rabia. Hello, everyone. My name is Sukhmani Lamba, and I'm a Senior Product Manager for Teams. And I'm so excited to be here today and walk you through everything we've been working on for the last few months. So as we saw in Rabia's demo earlier, message extensions are a fundamental building block for plugins. I'm sure many of you here have already built message extensions in the past. And for sure, you've realized that you first need to set up a bot via the bot framework. We've heard from so many of you that you want to have the choice to build these with a little bit ease without necessarily having to create a bot first. And we've listened to your feedback. Today, I'm pleased to announce a new way to create message extensions via your APIs. With just a simple OpenAPI spec document, within a few minutes, you can now deploy a fully functional message extension with Teams Toolkit. And let me show you a sneak peek of this now. I played with this earlier and recorded it for you so that you can get a sense of just how easy this is. Let's have a look. So we start with creating a new app here. I'm in Teams Toolkit. This is going to be of type message extension. And we choose custom search results here, which are the type of message extensions that are supported today, with support for other types to follow soon. And in the past here, we had a single option to create these message extensions using just bots. And we now have these 2 new options to start from APIs. And you can start either completely from scratch using a sample Azure function, or starting from an existing OpenAPI spec document. I'm going to go with option 2 for this demo. So for today, we already chosen an API. And to make things just a little fun, this is an open source API that actually allows you to share jokes with your colleagues on Teams on any topics of interest. And we've already wrapped it up using that OpenAPI format that I was talking about earlier. So we chose that file, and Teams Toolkit has already parsed it, and it's figured out what operations are inside that spec file. We had a get operation today for our search query. We give the app a name that users can find it by in the Teams UX, and we're all set. So let's have a look at the Teams app manifest that Teams Toolkit just generated for me. And it directly references that same OpenAPI spec document that we just uploaded, and it specifies that this particular ME is of type API. What Teams Toolkit also does is it generates an adaptive card response template, which is going to package the response from your API in the Teams UX. And these templates can also be modified right in VS Code. To save time, we already built a more polished adaptive card, which I'm going to drag and drop here. And there it is. So now by clicking on Preview Adaptive Card, you can actually, right from within Toolkit, preview these cards as you design and modify them. These cards can also be made more dynamic with operators like if or when statements that will change the contents of the card in real time in the product. So for example, we specify here that for all jokes of Theme Spooky, the card should display a specific image that we chose from Bing Images, and we specify the URL. You can do the same thing for other categories. You can also refine responses from your API, such as set restrictions or flags on specific topics, like say you don't want jokes on politics. So with that, we're now already all set for deployment. We're in the lifecycle pane, and we're going to hit provision. And we're ready to preview this right in Teams. So I've already done that. We can skip to the fun part. Now I know this isn't a comedy show, but let's see if we can get a few laughs out of this new message extension we've created. We're a few weeks away from the holidays. We're trying Christmas. Skeleton couldn't go to Christmas because he had no body to go with. That's kind of funny. I think we can get a few laughs here. No? Tough crowd? OK. The next one is on turkey for Thanksgiving. A goblin. I think that could have been funny. OK. I'll excuse no laughs. Maybe third time's a charm. Most of us are programmers. And object-oriented. OK, that was actually funny. This is getting me ready for Black Friday shopping. I think I'm object-oriented. So there. All of this is available as a sample app today on our GitHub repo. And we'll share a link to the resources at the end of this show. And that's it. As simple as that, you can build your first message extension using APIs from existing APIs in a matter of minutes today. And during our public preview, these API-based message extensions will be available in Teams first. And in the upcoming months, it's going to follow as plugins as well on Copilot, just like bot-based message extensions. So we just saw how you can expand Copilot with plugins built from message extensions, both bot-based and API-based. Now let's dive into expanding what Copilot knows by actually ingesting your enterprise data with Microsoft Graph Connectors. So in our first demo here for Graph Connectors, I'll show you how you can quickly set up a Graph Connector built by Microsoft for a custom file share. This file share actually contains many healthcare research articles, as well as a simple CSV that actually contains metadata for all of those resources. Let's roll the clip. So now all my admin needs to do here is go to the M365 Admin Center within Search and Intelligence Portal. We're inside the Data Sources tab, and we're going to set up a new connection. In here, the admin can just select the CSV Graph connector that we talked about earlier and begin setup. We'll give the connection a user-readable name. And then we're going to go ahead and fill in remaining details, such as the auth, schema, and permissions. And that's it. Now the admin can go ahead and publish the Graph connector. Awesome. Now we'll take a look at how this works in Copilot. So in about 20 minutes, this connection that we just built is going to get published. And when I prompt Copilot, as I'm doing here, it's going to show me content about lung conditions. And there it is. I'm going to get multiple responses. And notice that I didn't have to ask it for any specific disorder. Copilot just understood that intention of my request and returned these results from an external database that I'd linked. And it's complete with references and everything. I think it's pretty cool. OK, so this was a pre-built Graph connector that the admin deployed. But what if you wanted to build your own custom Graph connector? Let's start with what fundamentally makes up an M365 Graph connector. And these are the building blocks. It's an external connection to your data sources that you want to bring in, a schema for that external content, and finally, someone to manage the indexed items that are being ingested into M365. So let me show you how I built one from scratch. Let's roll the clip. So developers can use Teams Toolkit to easily build one of these cloud-based Graph connectors and deploy them with the single press of an F5. We have the project pulled up here in Visual Studio Code and Teams Toolkit. So this is in the app manifest. Let's look at the Graph connector configuration. The notification URL here is what defines where notifications should be sent when the administrator toggles the Graph connector connection status in Admin Center. Azure Functions are what handle the incoming notifications to either enable or disable that connection. And finally, creating connections does take a few minutes. So to handle it, we use queues and queues-triggered Azure Functions. OK, we're all set. We press F5, and we start the Graph connector. Teams Toolkit takes care of everything from installing prerequisites, building out the project, starting a dev tunnel, and then finally deploying that to the Teams Admin Center. So we're in the Admin Center now. We just saw that it's set up. So the Graph connector has received that notification of what we enabled, and it's going to complete the configuration process, which does take a few minutes. OK. And now that the connection is ready, we'll check the status, and it has been updated to success. Let's confirm once that the Graph connector has properly imported that external content. So again, we're back in the M365 Admin Center, where we can view these external connections in that same Search and Intelligence portal from where we manage these under data sources. There's a connection, and we see that 50 items are indexed. The final step now is to include this external content so that Copilot can index it. And we're all set. So we just saw two options for deploying Graph connectors. One was starting from scratch, and the first one was pre-built by Microsoft. And here's just some of the value that you get by ingesting your enterprise data into M365. So very first thing, it's bringing in rich data from all your external sources, whether they're on-prem or on the cloud. It's also discovering your external content very easily for users across M365 experiences, like Copilot, Microsoft Search, as well as the M365 app. And this is so that users can spend less time searching. And then finally, recognizing that all of this data that you bring into Microsoft Graph is protected by the same security and compliance policies that apply to the rest of your M365 data. So that's it. I'm excited to see what you start building, as well as what you enhance on what you've already built with plugins and Graph connectors in Copilot. And there's actually more. As a developer, you do need an environment to try all the new plugins and connectors that you will create before shipping them to production. And today we're excited to announce a new offering, the Copilot for Microsoft 365 Developer Sandbox. So you can test your plugins and connectors in a non-production tenant and develop the experiences that we showed you today. This is still in private preview with limited supply, and it's available for our ISVs in the TAP program and for our Copilot customers. And you can learn more at this link here. Maybe take a picture of this one for sure. Over to you, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabia and Sukhmani. One more round of applause for them. All right, now switching gears, we know that the story's not over once you've built an integration. So we take the end-to-end lifecycle of your solution seriously across developers, admins, and end users, and we're committed to making them all successful. We've already showed you how you can use our tools to create great Copilot experiences with plugins and connectors. But as you create those experiences, you're integrating with Copilot across Microsoft 365 in Teams, in Outlook, and in the Microsoft 365 app. And those same integrations are also available outside of Copilot in experiences throughout Microsoft 365 that hundreds of millions of people already use for their daily work. If you build a message extension-based plugin, that experience can show up inside of Teams chats and channels, as we saw, also inside of Outlook messages and link unfurling. If you build a graph connector that enriches search results in Microsoft Search and Context IQ and content experiences throughout the Microsoft 365 app. So even users who are outside of Copilot today can experience those same integrations. And for ISV developers who are building solutions for our joint customers around the world, we're also streamlining the publishing process. We've updated Partner Center and the existing Office program there to Microsoft 365 and Copilot, making it easy to create a new offer or update an existing offer with new integrations with Copilot experiences. And all the solutions published via Microsoft 365 and Copilot offer go through extensive validation for enterprise trust and security, responsible AI processes, and high-quality user experiences. OK, now moving on to admins. We know admins play a critical role in managing, deploying, and securing the value that developers create in every organization, and Copilot is no exception. Microsoft 365 Admin Center provides an experience for managing integrated apps across the Microsoft 365 suite. And we've updated that experience so that Copilot integrated apps are available there, and you can manage those that include plugins and connectors. We've made it easy to find the ones that are ready for Copilot directly within the experience. And we've made it easy for you to select specific users, groups, and distribution lists that should have access to that plugin in your environment. And across all those controls, you can apply them to both experiences built by partners like Jira and to experiences built for your own organization, like the experience Rabia built earlier. Managed all in one place and across Microsoft Copilot experiences and more broadly across the Microsoft 365 suite. And finally, to end users. We know that consistency and simplicity is key when it comes to acquiring and managing apps. So we're built a unified store that includes all apps integrated throughout Microsoft 365, including plugins and connectors. And you'll find a consistent App Store experience inside of Teams, Outlook, and the Microsoft 365 app. When a user acquires and enables one of those apps in one place, the integrations throughout Microsoft 365 automatically light up. We've also created new categories in the store so that users can more easily find apps built to work with Copilot. And when those apps are enabled, their plugins will automatically light up in Copilot for Microsoft 365 so users can take advantage of them. All right, that was a lot. So to sum up, we've seen how to extend Copilot for Microsoft 365 with new skills and new knowledge from your line of business applications and data. We've got some calls to action for you. Build new and extend existing message extensions to bring plugins and new skills to Microsoft Copilot. Build graph connectors to enrich Microsoft Search and expand Copilot's knowledge. Try out API-based message extensions with the Teams Toolkit, And regardless of what sort of Copilot solution you're building, join the TAP program for access to the Copilot Developer Sandbox. We've also got all the information from this session, as well as code samples and documentation for the resources that you saw, available at AKAMS Extend Copilot Resources. Take a picture of the QR code as well. And if you're here with us in person at Ignite, don't miss your chance to build your first plugin. Today we had our first lab session on building Copilot plugins. We had a full room. Tomorrow we've got one more session at 2:45, though I hear that one's filling up quickly as well. All right, now is the time. You can all go build. Thank you for joining us today. We are truly incredibly excited. We cannot wait to see the incredible things that we can all build together. Thank you, and we hope you have a great rest of your Ignite.